regular hours, it can be disturbing. It can be quite interruptive.
And what about Kenya? Do they have daylight
Oh,
saving?
no, because in Kenya, you have 12 hours of daylight anyway. You have 12 hours of
Always.
daylight and yeah, you can actually wake up on the sun. You can actually, yeah, you can, if you know, if you have got a tree, you have got a certain
Yeah.
tree in your compound, you can always tell what time it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
with the,
it's people who are towards the poles who has a problem with very short days during winter.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
That becomes a problem. Yeah, when I came here first, I would go inside, I'll go into a class and I come out and it's only 5 o'clock and it is dark already.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you see, again, we have this phenomenon of twilight. You guys don't have the phenomenon of twilight. The sun set like 2 hours ago and it's still bright outside. But the sun set a long time ago. There's a long twilight.
Oh, twilight is that hour when the sky is orange.
Yes, the sun already set, but it's still light.
Oh, okay. No, we don't have that.
That is one thing that the tropics lack. I mean, like everybody has, yeah, you can have your 12 hours, but you don't know what twilight is. You
Oh,
can have
yeah.
your 12 hours of sunlight.
Good. I was busy making myself coffee as we are waiting for quorum.
Yeah, yeah. This is a very intriguing topic. Maybe that's why I signed up in so early.
Yeah, I had a post like this, last week. It was one
Mm,
of the widely supported posts on Facebook.
yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Hey all, because we are live on YouTube, let me just announce for the sake of the people who are watching on YouTube that we are waiting for a quorum. Currently, we are at 4 people. Our quorum is 6. So once we get to that, we can officially start the discussion.
Douglas, hi. Can you hear me, Douglas? I'm just testing. I was telling Brananga, I'm in the bush today. Am I audible?
Yes, Morioki, you are audible.
Yeah, I'm in the interior today. Interior.
Wow. Good one. Quite interesting to say the least. Sawa sawa.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Greetings.
Hello, Adams. Oh, just in case you are not aware, we are waiting for a quorum of 6 people. We are now 1 person short. So, fingers crossed.
All right, then I'm waiting.
Dorcas, Edible said he'll join at 8:30. Do you trust him?
Sorry, Morioki, I didn't get that.
Dorcas, can you hear me? Yeah,
Yes.
Edible said he'll join at 8:30. Edibles,
Oh.
8:30. So I don't know. Do you trust him or?
Oh, is he as crafty as his edibles? No, actually, I see we have reached the quorum. Yeah, speaking of which, so welcome everybody to our weekly Zoom meeting. We launched our YouTube live stream early at the beginning because our admin had other matters to attend to, so he just did that and logged off. So we are sorry in case you are following us on YouTube and you are wondering why no one is talking. Yeah, we officially begin at 8:16 p.m. Kenyan time or East African time. Our host is joining us from Cape Town, South Africa, and is none other than Bolelang Rakepile. Welcome. Please take it away.
Greetings, fellow ungodly heathens. Not that bad, atheists and skeptics. Today we are discussing a very interesting topic. How it unfolded for me is something that started last week because Dean, many of you know Dean Kruger, was invited on a show where they were discussing pro-extinction. And it was the first time that I hear it from that perspective, pro-extinction. I'm used to antinatalism, and I was a bit emotional about it to say, no, how can people want people to be extinct? But now, yeah, now in Kenya also they are discussing it. It seems it's something that is current. But in order for us to be able to discuss it as a group and make progress, we should start by defining what we understand by our topic today. Our topic being would the world be better off without humans? What do you understand about that question? What is it asking? What is better off, for instance? Because if we discuss it and we are not discussing the same thing, then we might spend a lot of time and you find that we are not working towards the same goal. And are we talking about it on the moral side, ecological side, or philosophical side? So let me hear from the group. The floor is open. Why don't I see the hands here? Oh, yes, I see Muruki there. I was on the wrong screen.
Okay, thanks, Bulalang. When I hear that, what's in my mind right now is poaching, overfishing, pollution, such things. We've killed so many animals that now man has to protect them. We are fishing, we're taking fish from the waters at an alarming rate. Then there's also pollution. So we are doing quite some damage. Thanks.
Also, you are approaching it from the ecological side. Thank you, Muruki.
Yes,
You can
yes,
put
true.
down
Yeah.
your hand. I'm using a mobile today and I'm struggling to see the controls for putting down the hands and for choosing different people. Dorcas, let's hear from you.
Forgive me, guys. I might not be able to turn on my video today because I am multitasking. But I can
Okay,
definitely.
we can hear your voice. That is what is important.
Indeed. My voice and my
Because
thoughts.
also, not everybody wants to be on YouTube, you know. You remember people have the option to switch on the screen or not with the knowledge that they are also on YouTube.
By the way. So yeah, that is it's an option. One can take it or not. Now, when I hear this topic, I partly agree with Morioki that environmental concerns come into the picture because we are looking at the planet. When we say the world, what is the world? The world is a synonym for Earth or the planet in which we inhabit as humans. So, of course, some ecological concerns will come into the mix. But that is not all. I believe we also have to consider the moral underpinnings of the issue and, by extension, just the philosophical implications of this matter. It's serendipitous, by the way, Apolelang, that you commented or you are discussing this idea on Facebook. In fact, I think I saw that post because I've deleted my Facebook app on my phone, so I can only access it on my computer. So it's been a while since I visited the platform, but I think I saw your post and you were talking about voluntary human extinction. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that what you were discussing?
Yes, Dean was invited at UCT by people who do philosophy, and they are pro extinction of humans, and yeah, they say we should not be around here.
Okay. So it's so ironic and so serendipitous that you are discussing that on the same week that we had picked this topic of human, or of the world being better off without humans. So the philosophical angle, to me, this is a philosophical topic where we weigh what are the benefits or the losses of having a human extinction or a human extinction exercise. It will definitely touch on aspects of morality, and we will probably look at the limits of morality. It actually it conjures up memories of the other discussion we had on animal rights. You know, where do morals end, or where should they be expanded to? And when we were having that discussion, there was the notion that animals also deserve moral consideration. Okay, so I think this will also come into the mix when we are considering whether the planet would be better off without us. Who are we considering? Which it would be better off for what or for who? Would it be better off for the the natural resources? Do you just want a world without humans so that we can have nice greenery? We can have rivers that are free from pollution and forests that are thriving all over. You just want it for its own sake. You want biological diversity for its own sake. Or are you considering biological species, life forms, and maybe not even all life forms? Maybe you are considering the ones that have consciousness and by extension sentience. Maybe you are considering, would the world be better off for sentient beings? Because those ones are the ones that are aware of their environment and they can perceive pain or pleasure. So I'm thinking along those lines. And as we continue with the discussion, I will give my position on what I think of this, which agent matters when we are asking, would the world be better off without humans? I think one of the subtopics that you shared will cover that, so I'll get into that later. But as a last thing, I know I've spoken for long. This issue came to the fore during the early days of Skeptics and Atheists Society of Kenya. At that time, we were not even calling ourselves Skeptics and Atheists Society of Kenya. We didn't have the S. It was Atheist Society of Kenya, ASK. And people would often confuse us for Atheist in Kenya Society. And we would tell them, no, we are not with Harrison Mumia. He's not a part of us. We are on our own. We were called ASK, ASK. And I remember we had a Zoom meeting where a gentleman who is an antinatalist, by the way, we'll find that antinatalism tends to coincide with some of these ideas of voluntary human extinction. Sorry. So this gentleman was an antinatalist, and he was also a part of a suicide club. Imagine, here in Kenya, but they also had some other Africans from other parts of the continent, not Kenya. And they wanted to kill themselves in order to make the world a better place. He said that was their goal. But the group disbanded when some of them found love. Some of them eventually, even though they were antinatalists, they got kids and found that they had a reason to live, and they disbanded the suicide club. But so these things are real. These concepts are real, and they have come home to us here in Kenya. I think I sometimes get tons of it from the antinatalists in our group when they say, would it be so bad if humans cease to exist anyway? So yeah, we'll explore all those in the subsequent discussion. Thank you.
Okay, then as we are looking at human existence, we must also check at the scope. Are we talking about in the planet or in the universe? Because as we progress, we might be able to spread to other areas and leave this planet and go to other planets. So our existence, is it existence in planet Earth, or is it existence on the universe? Ndeve, let's hear from you.
Thanks, Bolelang. Hello, everybody. I am usually careful when I go into philosophy, but let me just say that this is a very, very, very intriguing topic. Because first of all, I thought it was all philosophical, but then when I thought about it a little bit more, I realized, no, it is not all philosophical. Because whether we were here or not, we would still have plate tectonics doing whatever they do and rearranging themselves whenever they feel like, then causing volcanic eruptions. That is, so far anyway, we haven't been able to do anything about that. Then there are the oceans and the seas and the rivers. We've maybe been disruptive to the rivers, but the seas, they still do whatever they do. The waters blow over the seas and cause whatever things, cause the water to go wherever the water is supposed to go, and maybe rain and all that. So far, I don't know if maybe somewhere some people have managed to do something about that to cause disruption with that, or it is all natural. We now, as human beings, we've managed to learn how our world works. I think that one is a positive thing, because since we are here anyway, we might as well know how our Earth, I'm just going to say our universe. Sometimes we also know how the universe works and the voids up there. But on the other hand, we haven't learned enough to not be disruptive, to not to disrupt the other inhabitants of the planet Earth. So is the Earth better off here? For us, maybe we can say, maybe for us, we have managed to improve our life to a certain extent, but still, we have not done very well. Let me just say that. I'll drop the philosophy and say, no, we have not done very well, particularly not for the other species. So maybe as we go along, we will figure out a way, but I think so far we have not. Now, if we were here, not here, the oceans and the seas and the volcanoes, they will continue doing their thing. So no, we are important, but probably, surprise, surprise, we are not. We are not that important, unfortunately. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, David. As you are speaking, I was thinking about the time scale of life on this planet and the age of the planet itself. And humans have been here for a few seconds when you look at the whole lifespan of the planet. So, children, they haven't learned walking. They haven't learned to master the language and to be skillful when communicating like adults do. And humans have not reached that stage of adulthood when you look at the age of the earth. But that's another issue. Then you mentioned the sea. We have impacted the sea, the corals in the sea, they are not as they were because of the chemicals that we are pushing in there. But yeah, that's not for me to talk about. I'm just a moderator, and most of the talking will be done by you the audience. And I would like us to look at the issue of the impact that we are having on the planet. What is the impact? We have touched some of it already that humans have on the planet. Niroke, the stage is yours.
Okay, thanks. Brother, may I ask Doc as a question, please?
Yes, you may.
Doc, as this suicide club, it was there for how long and when? Was it the 90s? When was it? And did the government know about it? Thanks.
Morioki, you need to practice listening comprehension. I said at the inception of SAS-K, that was in 2022. Yeah, so it cannot be the 90s. It was in 2022 when that member, when that member of the Suicide Club came to our Zoom meeting. He's a nihilist, he is an antinatalist, and he's a pro-human extinction with deliberate action. You know, there are those ones who suggest that you can do human extinction without willfully terminating the life of an existing human, that you can do it through non-reproduction. The antinatalists who say, well, if more of us stop giving birth, and eventually all of us stop giving birth, then the human species will be extinct. So there's that branch. But then there are others like him who believed that you can actually just take your life and hasten that process of human extinction. So yeah, he belonged to that. I don't remember the number. It was small because that's a very fringe idea. It's kind of like a cult. So it was a small number, but they were there. The members were.
Did the government know? Did the government know? Was the government aware?
Of course not. Of course not.
Fine.
It's probably like a secret society. Mm.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, these ideas overlap because even the one that is at UCT, there's a crossover there. The others who are not patient, who want us to go as soon as possible, and the others who are approaching it from anti-natalism perspective. Yeah. So I was particularly disturbed by the ones who are looking at it from suicidal side and saying, every day that we are living here, what is it? Are you going to make the world better tomorrow? But yes, let me not drift from the topic. Would Earth recover and flourish without humans? And as we answer that question, we should ask ourselves also, flourishing of Earth, recovering of Earth, if we are not here, what is the meaning of it? Because we are busy thinking about the Earth the way that we would like to see it, but we want to be out of the equation, some are suggesting. And what value does it add? So let's start with the question, would Earth recover and flourish without humans being in it? Nobody knows. Hi, Rachel. Let's hear from you.
Okay, hi everyone. Today I finally get to speak. I barely talk, my
Now
God.
I'm hearing you for the third time.
For the third time, okay, let me put on
Yes,
my video.
I've heard you twice speaking before.
Put on my video. Yeah, so on that question, I think it's a yes and no answer, according to me. Because okay, when you look at nature, usually places that are destroyed by people or okay, let's just say destroyed by people. Usually if people vacate that place for one reason or the other, the place usually just regenerates itself. You'll find plants growing back again. If there were animals, they will start coming around again. The nature will take back its course again because humans are no longer there to deplete the resources and to spoil whatever is already there on the ground. So I believe if humans were not there, Earth would get back to, like, it would rearrange itself and be better. But also on the other hand, I would say the Earth may not necessarily be like it wouldn't really, there are things that human beings improve, maybe due to science and stuff like that, things that they do on Earth to make things get better. But when you look at it, it's also bittersweet because most of the things that we say are improvements are usually just repairing what human beings already destroyed, you see. So like if we talk about addressing climate change on the negative side has been because of human beings. So if things are to be made better by human beings, again, they're just trying to correct what they already did wrong. So human beings' impact would be more on the positive side if we were not here. I believe human beings contribute the highest on destroying the earth. If we were not here, the earth would actually be much, much better. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. As you are speaking, I'm thinking a volcano that comes to a place which had a lushy forest and spews that lava, and after its ashes, and for a couple of decades, we don't see any plants there, and we see just a barren field. That compared to humans, which ones do much damage? That's another point that somebody might run with it later as you talk about the damages that are being done on the planet. Dorcas, let us hear from you.
First of all, I'm happy that Rachel got to speak. She stayed awake long enough to speak. She's been saying that sometimes she intends on speaking, but sleep overtakes her. So I'm glad this time we had your voice. Now, this is a nuanced issue, Bolelang. There is no black or white answer. There are arguments for both sides. Would the question, okay, you had asked another question previously, and then now you've asked this one of whether the earth would recover faster or better without humans. And then you had previously asked what is the impact of humans on the planet. Maybe let me combine them and give my remarks, my concluding remarks on it. But as I've said, it is nuanced. It is in black or white. There are negative impacts of humans on our planet. That is a fact. We would be denying science, reality, and existence as it is if we claimed that humans were neutral on the planet. Of course, they have exerted a lot of harm on other species or ecosystems. And this is because of our economic activities or technological advancements. For instance, we have resource depletion where people harvest water in large scale, where we harvest timber, we cause deforestation, where we practice monoculture agriculture. So we get rid of vast swaths of grassland or greenery in nature. So we destroy ecosystems through those activities. We have industrial waste. You know of the oil spills that have occurred. We engage in mining and drilling. We throw away or we use pesticides and chemicals which end up polluting our water sources, our air, our soil, and what have you. So because of that, then the ecosystems that sustain life are affected negatively. So if we stopped existing as humans, then those problems would not occur. Climate change would not be an immediate threat. We have expedited climate change. By the way, I'll have climate change would still occur under natural processes. It has been established that there are certain natural processes that can lead to climate change, but human activities have exacerbated it. So if we ceased existing, then these issues would suddenly diminish and eventually disappear. So that's the downside. On the other hand, human beings are also responsible for domestication of animals. Statistics show that humans account for 36% of the mammals that exist. 60% are domesticated animals or livestock, and then just 4% of all animals are wild, of all mammals, sorry, are wild. So if we ceased to exist, the mutually beneficial relationship that we have with domestic animals would also cease to exist. And those animals are not equipped to survive on their own in the wild. They would also eventually cease to exist. So we would be causing the suffering of domestic animals when we are no longer around. And like I said previously, that if we are considering this question, nature, when we say nature thrives without man, kwani we are not man? I mean, we are not nature. We are part of nature. So I would also consider the effect that our extinction would have on us because we are part of nature. So to me, it is problematic for us to disappear because of the benefits that we've had from existing as a species. Yeah, so I think there's that other side. And finally, I would also say for the non-human animals or for other forms of life that exist out there, which have been harmed by human activities, there's hope for us because we already see a lot of conservation efforts on our end. We know of reforestation, restoring ecosystems. We have animal conservationists. Some people start sanctuaries, and if they see that a certain animal is going to become extinct, they might use some human or some man-made methods to increase their survivability. So we have also saved species, and there are other aspects like environmental education that give you hope that there might be some positive outcomes. But as Rachel said, these are solutions to problems that we created, so we have to acknowledge that. Overall, it's a mixed bag. The domesticated animals, the humans themselves would lose from not existing, but the other intelligent life or just life in general would benefit, especially because of the pollution that we have caused. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorcas. As we talk about this, I'm a human too, and I'm feeling very negative about myself now as a human. But something in my mind says humans are creators also. And can we look at the part where we are creators? What role do we play in the planet as creators as we talk about these matters? And David, the platform is yours. You might be thinking about other points that I have not asked now. But yes, the coming speakers also should look at that point of humans as creators.
Yes. When people look at the clock, or rather the earth, the timeline of the earth, and then they say that, so if the earth came about at 12 midnight in a 24-hour clock, and other things, life forms show up maybe at 4 a.m., and then dinosaurs at, I don't know, around 11 p.m., and the humans, we show up at 11:59 p.m. in a 24-hour clock. It's almost at the end. It's almost, we show up almost at the end of the clock. For me, whenever I look at it that way, it is very sobering that we are actually showing up almost at the end of time, because we have only been here about 300,000 years. So now maybe that one can help us sober up completely in how to look at things. I actually disagree with Dorcas when she says that our domestic animals, if we weren't here, something would suddenly happen to extinguish, or rather to like our domestic animals would die. No, they would not. They would go out there and try to survive. And I am sure the cows would survive. There is not enough lions to finish the cows that we have. And by the time half of the cows are dead, the other half is smart enough to run away from the lion. They would become lean and start running faster. A few things would happen to those, and the chickens. And then the chickens, there's no way, there's not enough predators for the chickens that we have. So all I'm just saying is, they would go out there and become feral, become wild and survive as wild. So that is, they are safe. Our domestic animals are safe. They are just for our food. I'm disagreeing with Dorcas there. So when I look at it that way, for me, it is just a point to sober me up. While I know at the same time we are creators, yes, I agree that we are creators. We have created a home for ourselves here. We found about 300,000 years ago, and we came in here as very funny looking humans. We are now what we are. We create, we destroy, we build, we even try to heal the earth whenever we destroy it. So I think, I think it's kind of hard to say. I am not sober enough to say that we should just get the hell out of here. So maybe when I become totally sober, I will see that we should just exit. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, never. You must think of other animals which were not here. And that only came into being because of humans. You know, like a dog with short legs like this and with a long body, and we call it a sausage dog. That type of an animal was not present before. A dog like a caterpillar. In fact, all dogs were not around. We had wolves, we had jackals, and other animals, and the breeding gave rise to all this funny looking type. Maybe we think that they are cute when we look at them. So some of the animals, I wondered never whether they are even able to become feral. I know cats, yes, they can adjust, but I wonder what happens when they give birth to other animals. Will they still be these delicate cats that we see, which will be wiped out by other species? So yeah,
But
that would
we,
be another exercise that
yes,
has a lot of parameters that we are not even aware what is going to happen.
but we do know something about survival, just what happens in nature. What will survive. We only see the lions surviving. Not only now we are studying to see how they survive in the wild, and how the dangers that they face. And I think that's exactly what would happen to the sausage dog. If it can't survive, maybe it shouldn't be here. So yeah, it will
Yeah,
be eaten by another thing, and the cycle goes on. We become soil, and then we become minerals, and we become somebody else's flesh. It goes
yeah.
on. Yes.
Unfortunately, I won't be there to witness it, but I would like to serve, to have to look and study a sausage dog trying to survive in the wild. El Maestro, uh, good to see you. The stage is yours.
Yes, I hope you are all doing well. First of all, I'd like to start by agreeing with Ndeve. I don't think the wild, the domestic animals will eventually go extinct after humans go. Looking at, okay, maybe let's start with the cows. There are so many species of cows. Leave alone the ones that you that you usually see. There are so many species of cows. These lions or I don't know, cheetahs, they cannot finish all these species. And there are even other species of cows, like the ones that this president of Uganda, I always see him having those cows that have huge horns. I think those cows can fight back when lions attack them. When they're in like I always see on Nat Geo Wild, where buffaloes, maybe one buffalo and one versus one lion, it's a mismatch. But when one lion is facing like 10 or 5 buffaloes alone, he'll run away, because unity. That unity alone will chase the lion away. So I don't think the domestic animals will go extinct after humans go extinct. They'll find a way. They'll find a way to survive. I think we are underestimating them. We are underestimating these domestic animals that we usually see. Secondly, would this world be better without humans? First of all, if all humans go extinct and we leave this world the way it is right now, first of all, can animals clean it? Can animals really clean it, or they'll even leave it? They'll dirtify it even more, where they leave their feces all over. Where sometimes, but in my opinion, I don't know, because first of all, I saw an AI. I saw an AI picture of, let's say, that a city like Nairobi. What would happen after 5 years in Nairobi without any human beings at all? The trees would, I don't know, some trees or some plants will start growing on the road or inside or beside buildings. And some people think it's beautiful, but for me, I don't think it looked beautiful in my eyes. But I know human beings that have done a lot of damage, but they've also beautified it, like in some gardens. The way I see the beauty in some gardens, animals would never do anything like that. So it's a black and white question. So
And your favorite
somehow,
thing, the pool.
yes, yeah,
There won't be
and
pools.
and but I also ask myself a question: if human beings cease to exist, would trees also start growing in the deserts? I I'm not sure, but all in all, maybe our Christian brothers, if you want to go, you want to try this thing of going extinct, our Christian brothers should start by going, and because they believe there is a better place called heaven. They should start by living fast before the rest of us follow. Anyway, that's my take for now. I'm not sure if the world will be a better place without humans.
Oh, yeah. I did pick up some biases there, and Maestro. You were looking at the world through the eyes of a human being, talking about Nairobi City, trees in Nairobi City. Uh, were we not there as humans, or were we humans who are not commercial like we are? There would not be tarmac and high-rise buildings and restaurants and the likes. Keep that in mind. Hi, Tommy. The stage is yours.
Hello, brother Bolelang.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm happy to see you because you're one of the few people who can pronounce my surname correctly, yet you are miles away from Kenya. So I'm happy to hear you. So maybe I can
Yes,
just
because your surname, it looks like surnames of people in South Africa.
exactly. Actually, I think we must have parted ways maybe some while back. So perhaps that's the
Yes.
reason. So basically, I think this is a very important topic for humanity in general, and not only you people as probably atheists, but also for anybody who has a concern for the life and the goodness, and the good of what's here. So maybe I can give quickly my perspective. I think for the first time, I agree with Sister Dorcas on a topic, but that's neither here nor there. But I'd like to maybe just give some few comments regarding on why I think, number one, human beings it's true, human beings, it's undeniable to say, it's wrong to say that human beings have not caused damage, because we see it there, and it's everybody can see it. But also I think it's not quite, sorry, I think it's
Yes, we
not
can hear.
quite accurate. Yeah, I think it's quite not accurate to say that we as human beings, the world would be better off without us. Number one, I'll just begin by maybe taking a philosophical position is nobody knows that possibility. Because if we were not here, for example, if today all humanity was wiped out, there will be no one to confirm or disagree or agree whether indeed the world would be a better place. So that in itself is, we can say that it rules out that idea that 100% we are sure that man as absence would yield something good. In fact, if we look back, there have been events which have been catastrophic to the point of wiping out large swaths of flora and fauna. I think at the moment the biodiversity that we have is just, I think, I don't know, forgotten the percentage. It could be even 1 or 2%, very little compared to what was existing before. So to say that human beings are completely negative in terms of their existence, in terms of our existence, is, in my view, not exactly accurate. Now, just to give you a small perspective, I try to look up at what the experts are saying on the topic, and I realized there is a divided opinion regarding exactly what would have been the outcome if human beings were there or if human beings were not there. And if I can be able maybe to comment from what I read, let me just see if I can pull it up quickly. If I'm not, I'll just continue. So there's this book or this article called by Patricio J. Pereira. He says the title is Human Beings and the Species They Introduce Are Not a Cancer of the Planet. So they give several grounds and to why they're saying human beings are not a cancer to the planet. So first of all, they take the position that cancers normally destroy their host, but human beings are not in the kind of position where they'll be willing to self-destroy, unless now, I think I saw one of the comments, one of the subtopics is nihilism. Maybe if we reach to that point, maybe we'll look into that. It's possible some people want to exterminate us as human beings completely. But according to that article, they say that they took that position. And then they took up another argument. They say, apart from that one, that humans are not a cancer because they wouldn't want to destroy themselves, they took up a point where I think what Sister Dorcas mentioned, that humans, that we are part of the ecosystem. So already we have to be there, or because we have a place in it, just by evolutionary, if you accept the evolutionary process, we are the end result of this whole machinery, or let me call it machinery, or this whole natural movement. We are the final end result, or the pinnacle of what would come out if these things were left to play out on itself. So the other species did not survive. We are the ones who now came through. Ultimately, this is their position, according to in their position. So then, one last book you can quote. He calls the book is titled Non-Zero: The Logic of Human Destiny, and they argue that the argument that they put forward is that the societies are interconnected. So for us as humans to move out of existence, that will mean several species will fall out. Now, to pick on what Sister Ndeve said, and I also support what Dorcas said, there's some species which are completely, if you look at the way they have developed or the way they are, it seems now it's as if it's pointing back to what the scripture says, that some species were put from the start with a domesticated, with a docile or domestic kind of temperament or nature. So I'll give an example. They have found out that there are some animals, in the absence of human beings, behave completely different. For example, let me give you an example. the bird, there's a bird called the cuckoo bird. Is it cuckoo bird? And parrots. In the absence of human beings, let's say they're totally in the wild, they completely don't, for example, don't react to music. They don't react to mimicking other birds or mimicking sounds in nature. But in the presence of human beings, they have this special thing that happens in them. It's as if they were made for man and man was made for them. So in short, there's some form of interaction or compatibility or necessity between these two. Maybe just to close, I don't know whether I'll get another opportunity to speak.
Yes, there's a lot of time after this.
Okay, when you give me another chance, maybe if this is acceptable to the other team, someone mentioned if heaven is better than earth, why don't Christians maybe exit, or why don't people, those who believe in a heaven, exit and let those who are not believing in heaven as a better place stay here? Now, I want to, if you give me a chance, maybe the next time I speak, I'll give you now the position where what Christians believe in terms of that, and I'll give you an example. There's a verse where God says, He will come to destroy all who destroy the earth. Now, this is the only time where we have ever had this opportunity or capability to destroy the earth for the first time in all the existence of human beings. You have seen the nuclear bombs and the whatever. So this is the first time where we as humans can annihilate or explode this world out of existence. I'll share if I get a chance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tommy. What you have mentioned, I would like to draw attention to the time frame where you talked about certain animals coming before humans. It is important to know that the time that it took between humans and those animals, how long was it?
Yeah.
Was it a day? Or if they say days, 1,000 years, was it a couple of thousand years? Or was it hundreds of thousands of years? So those things are important when we look at it. So should we look at these issues through mythology, or should we look at them through reality that we research? That's those points. I think we'll discuss them there at point number 10 as we wrap everything up. But now we want to discuss the issue of consciousness. Tommy did touch the issue that it seems you are a pinnacle. But also, I have my questions. The pinnacle. When you say the pinnacle, it's like this was a project and it has come to its end where it culminates. But there's a lot of time that is left after this. So if we are the pinnacle, that means anything that comes after this, nothing is going to happen except us. We are the center of the whole of nature. We should check those issues, whether those are valid. But let us get into consciousness, self-awareness, which seems other animals are not as well equipped as humans on it. This feedback mechanism, does it not put us in a better position to shape the world in a way that that is best if we do what is right? Let's think about that as we discuss further. I know Miruyuki, capital letter J, also their hands were up already. You can discuss what we were discussing, but from now on, also think about the value of consciousness of human beings. Miruyuki?
Okay, thanks, Blalang. First one, I want to backtrack a bit about Ndeve and Dockers. some animals that are man-made may not survive. Like I think Docas and Blalang, you're saying there's some animals, some dogs, which if you leave them here, it will be very hard for them to survive. But things like cats, dogs that appear natural will survive. Then again, this issue of stray cats and stray dogs, it's our fault. Like at times they have to kill cats and dogs, which is very unfortunate. Like I had for the World Cup, I think I don't know which way it is. They have to kill dogs because of the World Cup. They go killing so many dogs because they are stray dogs. That's very unfortunate for us to have to kill cats and dogs. Yet we brought them here. Then Tommy, I think animals are all wild. I don't think there's any animal that was born domestic. We tamed them, Tommy. I think even science proves it. All animals are once wild, then human beings took them. Thanks.
Thank you, Meroke. Stray dogs. A lot of stray dogs that survive, and they develop the pack mentality that wolves have. We have seen it, and I think the reason that they are killed is because of that. Because once they start gaining and going around as packs, then they attack people. I wonder if you have had that problem in your area. There are cities where dogs are managed because now they behave wild. But let us go to capital letter J.
Thank you for the opportunity. Again, I know you've said we should go to conclusions, but I had so many points regarding question 3. And I wanted to talk about the way we're framing this question on humans and the effect on the environment, right? Humans have been here for around 300,000 years. Homo sapiens, that is. And Homo sapiens. Humans, we have other humans, habilis and whatnot, right? But our drastic effect on the environment started with where about greenhouse gases started with the Industrial Revolution, and before that there was the migration and whatnot, right? So I will not hold it against humans regarding migration and whatnot and the extinction they caused, introduction of invasive species and all that. But we've reached a point where we've broken the ecosystem. When you say we're part of the ecosystem, we are overpopulated, right? And our population is not being taken down by lions, by tigers, and what. Those have been closed off in parks. Yeah. And right now we have ballooned, we are unsustainable, such that we are destroying habitats, we're destroying forests, we're overfishing, we're destroying the environment because the resources that we used to consume before we exploded in number are finite, and they were being used by other animals, and right now we're taking all of it for ourselves at their expense, right? Yes, humans have created domestic animals. They've created nuclear weapons that can destroy the world, right? They are going to destroy the world not just for humans but for all the other animals, because in case there is a large-scale nuclear exchange, there shall be a lot of dust in the atmosphere, leading to crop failure and failure of plants, and that shall take us to another catastrophic, like after it's called the Siculab meteorite disaster that wiped off the dinosaurs. One of the things humans have created is themselves, and they've reproduced in very large numbers. And anything they've tried to solve is a problem regarding them, right? Either they're the ones who cause the problem, or it is their problem they are trying to solve, right? And yes, Homo sapiens have been causing extinctions over many years, but the extinction rate has not been at the same rate that it is right now with modern humans. Yeah. So maybe our biggest problem would have been, or where we started stressing the ecosystem on Earth is when we started agriculture, because that is when our population shot up. We stopped being hunters and gatherers, And then from there, it has been a downhill trend. Yes, I don't know we have vaccines, but they are there to help us. And of course, if we're talking of vaccine for animals, those are domestic animals we created, so that's really not a point, right? I think, as you've said, humans have contributed very little to the ecosystem of the earth since agriculture, right? That was what I wanted to introduce. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Capital J. What are those on your picture? Is it grapes or is it other organisms?
That was a Google profile picture that was suggested to me by Google, and it is just fish eggs.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it was some microorganisms. Yeah, and I appreciate that point where you point that the time that we started damaging, it's quite recently. For the large part of our history, we were living in accordance to nature. There were predators also that were controlling our population. Maybe instead of extinction, we should allow some predators who need our flesh. Those are those that came as we were speaking. But yeah, let us go to Dorcas now. And as we go to Dorcas, we should also look at the issue of the ethics of extinction. There were different number of methods that came up. Others were people who were suicidal. Others were talking about antinatalism. How ethical is it to want people not to be around? How can we sit here? We have had an opportunity to live, and then what gives us the right to say now other humans should not have the right that we have had? So let us incorporate that as we go forth. Let's hear from Dorcas. Are you there, Dorcas?
Yes. It's funny how just 30 seconds in a Zoom meeting can seem like an eternity. Yeah, Bolelang, you missed capital letter J, and I were on opposite sides of the spectrum when we had the animals' rights discussion because he's a vegan like Morioki. But albeit a more, should I say, persuasive one. Because Morioki, I always have issues with his logic. So this one is a more persuasive gentleman. I'm happy, capital letter J, you joined us for this discussion. And I love having divergent opinions. Like a meeting is more interesting if people have different opinions. Now, you've given us so much to discuss, Bolelang. We were to look at the value of consciousness, and then you've also talked about the ethics of human extinction. And I also wanted to respond to something Deve said. I wanted to rebut her rebuttal because she was claiming.
You know, in Sesotho Dorcas, we say, there's no time a cow takes out all the dung. So even the day that it will die with some dung. So don't worry about all the material.
Okay, I'll try and condense it. So, yeah, Deve was saying that the animals will probably evolve, they will go feral and they'll survive. But that is speculative. I checked, I Googled to find out what would happen to domestic animals if humans became extinct. And this is what it says. I'm reading the AI summary, full confession. The dogs, as Bolelang mentioned, there would be free ranging or stray dogs will have a higher chance of survival, but most house dogs would perish. That's what they said. For cats, these ones are more adept at hunting, and they would initially feed on pests, but the specialized breeds would face high mortality. Indoor caged pets would quickly die. These ones are fish, rodents, or birds. They would quickly die from a lack of food or captivity. They've lost that ability to hunt for themselves. Then, because they are caged anyway for a year, so they will not be released back into their natural habitat. Then for livestock, it's saying that sheep are likely to which are bred to overproduce wool, would likely die from overheating or exhaustion because of lack of shearing. Cows and goats would also perish because of infections. That thing of diseases is very important. Ask a chicken farmer why it's important to vaccinate or treat to treat the chicken. Otherwise, they're going to die. And this is one of the positive outcomes of humans. When you had asked us about the impact of human extinction, humans have the ability to fight diseases on behalf of other animals. Pigs and horses, those ones, horses have a higher chance if they find water sources. If they don't, they will die. And pigs are scavengers. Yeah, they also talk about fertilization. So it isn't black or white, but for the most part, they are likely to die out. Yeah, within weeks or a few years, if humans went extinct due to their reliance on us and medical care, most would perish. Okay. Now, on the value of consciousness, what is consciousness? Consciousness is the ability to be aware of your surrounding. And I believe that consciousness is a spectrum. There are some organisms that have a low level consciousness, it's just sense based. And then there are other organisms that have a high level of awareness of their environment. And mammals in particular have the capacity to experience empathy, social bonding, and emotions. It has been shown crows, they tend to demonstrate tool use, and octopuses have such unique intelligence. They show great problem solving abilities and curiosity if you study an octopus, and many other intelligent species. The aspect of sentience is also crucial in this discussion because sentience is the capacity to feel, perceive, or experience subjectively. It could be either positive or negative aspects. Okay, so in this discussion, where does consciousness come into the mix? Would the world be better off without humans? I think we need to consider our own consciousness, our own awareness of the environment. I think this is a unique attribute that we possess as humans, that we are contemplating what is the impact that we're having on other animals. The others don't really care. These other non-human animals, they just focus on their own survival. But us guys have that such an immense level of consciousness, such great self-awareness that we are contemplating what is the impact that we are having on other species. So that gives you some sort of responsibility. Yeah, I'm not, please don't assume because I am against this motion of human extinction. Don't assume that I wholesale ignore the custodial role that human beings have on other species because of our great level of consciousness or self-awareness. So to the extent that it is possible for us to do good on this earth, let's do it. To the extent that we don't hurt other conscious beings, because for me, actually, that is the crux of the matter. I would propagate for environmentalism only because of the benefits that it would have on intelligent life, especially sentient life. Yeah, because those ones have the capacity to experience pleasure or pain. So if we can reduce those negative effects, usually the negative effects we place on the environment trickle down to ecosystems and now to those sentient beings, let's reduce it. However, the ones that affect our survival, like the discussion we had on veganism and eating animals, that one, we have to prioritize our needs, man. We have to prioritize our needs, and we have to get our nutrition from those animals. I am pro eating meat. So anyway, there's that aspect that we have to consider. Now, this one of the ethics of human extinction, and how is it coming about? I think this is a weighty matter. Maybe I won't even do it justice, given that I have a very short time left. I think the antinatalists the antinatalists are concerned about something worthwhile. Like the antinatalists want to reduce human suffering by not reproducing. Yeah. And to be honest, there are many human beings who have children without thinking. In fact, I think somebody was saying, is it 60% of children are born without a plan? I don't know how true that number is, but it's definitely not too far from the truth. We bring children into this world and many of them actually suffer. But I think it isn't a full justification for us to make ourselves extinct, to voluntarily extinguish ourselves, because there's the other aspect of life where we also experience pleasure. And I feel like the antinatalists or the pro-human voluntary extinction group tend to downplay the aspect of pleasure, and they tend to put too much value on suffering, or they tend to diminish humans or other sentient beings' abilities to withstand pain. It's like they want to get rid of pain at all costs, regardless of the fact that you will miss out on pleasure. So that is where I disagree with them, but I think it is a less harmful method of causing human extinction, because it's just preventing people from existing. It's not getting rid of people that exist. Now, the other methods, I will just mention them and stop talking because I know I've spoken for long. Nuclear wars, pandemics, asteroids, and natural disasters. Nuclear wars and pandemics, definitely preventable, and those ones are unethical. In my view, we need to work towards eliminating them. Maybe a pandemic might not be a direct cause of humans, but how we handle it could be. Nuclear wars, I am a very strong anti-war person, unless it's defensive. Then asteroids or natural disasters, those ones, actually some human beings, through our technology, we might be able to fight them. So yeah, that's where I stand on the ethics of human extinction. Thank you.
Yeah, as you talk about suffering and the pleasure, one way that I had a person explains it, it says, the pleasure is like how we want life to be. It's like a white slate. And if anything comes on that white slate and puts a smudge on it, then that smudge is so obvious because it's not supposed to be there and it's spoiling the whole thing. A person who has a pleasant life, who has all resources, they might start to have issues of insecurity. They might start to have other psychological issues that make them not to enjoy life and suffer amid the plenty that they have. So when we look at suffering, we should not look at suffering as poverty, as war and other things. Suffering comes in many forms. So let us start to incorporate suffering in our discussion. Doctors have started it. And are we supposed to suffer like we are suffering? Does this suffering that is happening to humans have a hope that one day humans will manage to progress to a level where we eliminate suffering? It's Mureki now. Capital letter J, you forgot to bring down your hand. I wonder whether you are still on the queue. Okay, thank you. Mureki?
Thanks, Bulalang. I think let's be honest to ourselves. Sex isn't meant for pleasure. Let's be honest. Like I'm a country, I know of a girl who left school because she had a kid. So I asked the person who lived with her, when will she go back to school? Then I heard now she has another kid. She has a second child. So now school is out for her forever because she's following her body and she's following pleasure. Now she has two kids. She's under 20. Now her life is now she's in a mess because she has two young kids, all because of sex. So let's be honest. Sex is for making babies. Let's be true to ourselves. Then again, our consciousness. I think for having kids, I think we should be checked before you have kids. Are your genes good or not? Before you have kids with somebody else, you should be checked by experts of whether you'll have good kids or weak kids. That will work. Thanks.
Okay, Mureki, I hear. So you advocate for people to have sex only to have children. If I want 5 children, so I should have sex only 5 times in my lifetime.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Because the kids will suffer. The kids will suffer, man.
In primary school, I had a headmaster who used to think like that, and it took a lot of energy to take out that thing that she used to hammer it in our minds. But okay, we'll hear later about your philosophy. Tommy, are you on the suffering issue?
Yes. I think I totally disagree with Brother Murioki that we should not be able to reproduce unless we are genetically fit. Because if that is true, then based on science or based on that kind of thinking, a large swath of us Africans would be wiped out, because in some literature, and for obvious reasons, we are not at very good reproductive in terms of many of us are not. For example, many are malnutrition. Many are, for example, you have seen the bell curve, which argues that we have the lowest IQ and things like those. So if those ideas were held true, and we apply gene science in terms of choosing who can breed and who cannot, many would not exist. And in my view, the human value is far much more than your genetic or your potential in terms of what you can do and what you cannot do in terms of abilities. So people like who are albinos, if you have genes, for example, and you carry sickle cell anemia, if you carry genes for example, albinism, then you are doomed. But in my view, there's some people who have been produced, for example, who are albinos, and they are exemplary human beings. There are people who have been produced, even let me give the example of the scientist, what is called, the one who's paralyzed, is it Dawkins or Hawkins? Stephen Hawkins, a brilliant mind. And part of that contribution to science was spurred on due to his disability. I think you've seen the way the human being is designed. Let me not use the word design. The way the human being is, you find that when you lose one sense, for example, look at deaf people, they're able to read lips. Something like me, someone like me cannot even understand sometimes normal speech, yet someone can use vision to just interpret what someone else is saying. So I think human beings are not valued in terms of physical or biological or mechanical abilities. Touching on the conscience, what I believe separates us from lower life forms is, number one, as has been mentioned, that we are sentient. But beyond just being conscious, because consciousness itself is something that's baffling scientists. They're still struggling to understand what exactly it is, where it arises from, and what ends it. Well, I mean, why is it there? And particularly in, I don't know whether you can still call it the conscious or within the conscience, there's something called the conscience, where we are above, far and above other other beings or other life forms, have the ability to tell between right and wrong. For example, we're already discussing whether it is good for humans to exist on the planet or not. That already is a moral decision. So that level of choosing what's moral and what's not is something which is completely beyond other life forms, so far as I understand. Now, maybe just quickly to rebut what Brother Miruki again said, that we domesticated animals, and some animals, what do you call it, are able we can domesticate anything. According to science, there's such a small percentage of animals which have ever been domesticated. I think it's less than 1%. And the reason being, there are some traits which have to exist, almost 7 of them have to exist at the same time for you to be able to domesticate an animal. For example, the zebra is impossible to domesticate. There's other animals. I saw one sign on social media, Kenyans like making fun. Kienyeji puppies for sale. Kienyeji means traditional. I mean, not Kienyeji means, I've forgotten the Swahili word for it. The English, Kienyeji means, I don't know which word. Kienyeji puppies for sale, meaning puppies which are mongrel puppies for sale. When you look at the mongrel photo that what's put there, those are actually wild dog puppies, or this wild dog, those hunting dog puppies. And those ones are completely not dogs. If you look at them, they look like dogs, behave like dogs, but their genetics is far from dogs. And they're also totally not domesticable. So in short, what we are seeing is a case where even genetics shows that these animals do not have, because they're genetic markers when you do domestication, things that change. So it is clear that these things were not able to be domesticated and they cannot be domesticated. I think for that point, I'll leave it at that. And about the conscience, I don't have much to say, apart from my belief is that especially what makes us different is our ability to choose right and wrong. I can be lame, but I can have an impact important to the society. And even if I don't have an impact, now this is now more on the side of people who have a faith, you have value even if you have Down syndrome. You have value as a human being beyond your existence in terms of your biology and your chemistry and the physics about you. For that reason, you'll find in America, for example, the egg of a bald eagle. I think it's a bald eagle, I don't know what kind of eagle, which was almost going extinct. If you destroy one, you get a penalty, a serious penalty in terms of law. But human beings can be destroyed. And there's no human being is taken lightly. A human life is taken lightly. So I think the ethics of it, in my opinion, yes, we might be suffering in terms of disease, in terms of Nini, I mean, in terms of what and this and that, but it is quite important to understand the value. And I think that's why it boils down. Who are you or who am I to decide the value of a human being? If we can, then why was Hitler wrong in deciding such a people are not valuable? Thank you.
Oh, yes. When you started, I thought about Hitler and other similar people who came with this thing of eugenics. And I think what Muriku was talking about was not the eugenics as such, but is the responsibility of two people. You meet a person and you want to get married. You can decide from your genes checking, oh, we have 80% of getting a disabled child. Should we marry or should we go separate ways and find other partners where the match is going to give different outcomes? Uh, I see it going with responsibility also. It is not just eugenics as such, where you say such
Maybe if I
people
can,
are not. Sorry.
maybe I can just make a small comment on that. Sorry, here it's raining, so I've moved into an echo room. So
Okay.
we had a discussion, and it became a heated discussion at church because the presenter brought the idea that before you get married, you have to do a genetics test, you have to do an academic test, you have to do several tests to match to determine your accountability. Now, me, I think I don't know that they're called hopeless romantics or what. My opinion is that the only test that there should be is love, whether you love that person or not. Okay, number two, of course, number one, which is, now this will not apply to you guys, is that, do you have the same belief system? For example, do you believe in God? That's number one. If in God, then it will be a problem. But number two, is there love? So in my opinion, love should be the number one test that there is. If the other, because I've seen someone who was HIV negative and they loved someone who was HIV positive. So if we do not make or connect people based on love, but that's just a side note, it was not quite really important for the discussion. Thank you.
Yeah. In fact, I think eugenics is a topic on its own. It should be one of the topics that are going to be discussed in future because we can get deeper into it. And there are some moral issues when you look at these ethical issues also that really needs to be dissected. Love alone is not it's not enough, and also you pointed beliefs. Why should you bring in beliefs if something that has consequences more than beliefs, like the baby that is going to be born, is important? But let's pack it there. Dorcas, you can look at that issue in the future. I don't know how's your program, but we need to discuss it in the future. And David, oh, wait, let me say, we are on the other side now, going to the end. And in order to do justice to all the topics that are left, the items, it would be good to combine some of them because you do have a list. We were on number 6. So from number 7 up to number 9, you are allowed to discuss those 3 because we have limited time. So, Ndebe?
Can I let Capital J go? I'll let Capital J go. I don't know if we have heard him.
Yes, we have heard him.
Oh, we've heard him. Oh, good. That is good.
Yes.
Okay. So I was just going to brush quickly through the test, or rather the reason we have children and the nihilism, child or no child, and who decides who can have a child. Yeah, there we go again. I think that is just more human because we always think that as humans we can make these decisions. But I thought that the test that is usually important should be just DNA test to be sure that like the Ashkenazi Jews or whoever, and to be sure that that person is not your cousin by any chance. The rest, we usually cannot decide what kind of children somebody will have from the perceived traits. Yeah, genetics have got a mind of their own. The other one is about pain and suffering, or the reason that people decide they'll go of nihilism because a life is full of pain and suffering. But the pain and suffering are not the same thing. Pain is when I have a headache. Suffering is when I have I'm having emotional suffering, whether there is a physical pain attached to it or not. So when we decide because somebody is going through a certain pain, when we decide for them that they are suffering, I think we are totally wrong, because only a person can decide whether they are suffering. Somebody who is in a wheelchair, you can't decide for them whether they are suffering. Maybe they are not. Maybe they are having the time of their life. I think that totally depends on our emotions and how we perceive life. As for the other, I was going to mention the other from the list. Number 7, can humans change? Can humans change? Change to what? Change to what? We are egotistical, but we can probably teach ourselves to be custodians of what we have, because if we are good custodians of what we have, whether it is genetics or whether we are taking care of animals, that animals have a good life even if they are wildlife, we are also taking care of our own future. So yes, humans can change. And yes, I'm just going to give an example of Kenya. My first job in Nairobi was with the Ministry of Water Development in a department that, are you Kenyans listening? Water quality and pollution control. And let me tell you, Kenya has got people that were produced from the Kenya Water School. We should not be having floods in Kenya because the people are there who are trained in water management and pollution and quality control of water way back, almost 50 years ago. So we can be good custodians of our what we have, and we can also be bad custodians, because in Kenya we have been really bad custodians, particularly of water, because that is what I know, that is what I was trained in, and we have been very bad custodians. So can a lesson be learned? Yes, lessons can be learned. Thank you.
Oh yeah, you just reminded me of what we saw. Is it last week or 2 weeks ago? That was really terrible.
Yes.
We were quite disturbed to witness it. We had something similar to that, but the damage that I saw there, even in places like Nairobi, it was terrible.
Yeah, and to just to put in a little bit of fun, is that one of the places that floods in Nairobi is where the Water Institute is. It floods. Yeah, the Water Institute where I went, I was trained for water management. It floods seriously.
Oh yeah. Okay, let us go to capital letter J.
Okay, thank you again. Discussing on the points that are remaining, we have about, yes, of course, there was a point that was raised about genetic testing and what. Of course, that is responsible. That's the prudent thing to do. Yeah. And of course, even the antinaturists, I think the antinaturists are right? Because there is no human existing. Why bring a human being into a world where there is suffering? If where they are right now, there is no suffering. You see, it's like you take your friend and you take them in a house full of fire, and maybe there'll be some cold water here and there to cool them. But you really didn't have the point, you really didn't have a reason to bring your friend in that house of fire. If you had left them out there, you would have been the more responsible person in that instance. So maybe that's a very short allegory on that. Yeah, of course, you can use contraceptions, to stop these things. So, how can humans change? Humans can change by limiting their consumption. We have a very huge strain on the environment, on the planet, because of our huge population, and we can limit our consumption by reducing our population to sustainable levels, right? We act as if the world is ours. It's not. We are sharing it with other animals. Just because these other animals cannot speak and address us in English or whatever language we speak does not mean that they have consented to what we're doing. If humans disappeared tomorrow, there would be a huge respite for the animals in the world. We we've confined them to national parks, and they used to roam all over. Back when we were hunters and gatherers, yeah, that was sort of a fair environment for us all. Maybe we may not think of being eaten by lions as fair, but for the lion it is fair, right? Of course, again, we need to stop looking at the world with a very narrow viewpoint of everything is through the human eyes, sort of through the cow's eyes, sort of through the lion's eyes, right? Of course, domestic animals may suffer here, but a huge deal of suffering, I feel, in the animal kingdom could be attributed to these domestic animals in animal farms, and being mistreated and slaughtered and everything by humans, because humans breed so many domestic animals in the millions, if not billions, right? And they do that just to exploit them. So yes, they would die off, but that would be a good thing. There would be less suffering, right? Responsibility or nihilism. I think responsibility is better. Responsibility in that you are responsible not to cause additional suffering in the world, whether it is to humans or to other planets, not to bring additional humans, right? Nihilism, I think it's just a philosophy of trying to understand the world, and the nihilist sort of gives up. But there are other philosophies that, like absurdism. Yes, the world does not make sense, but does not mean that you give up, right? Yeah, I guess those are my 2 cents from 7 to 9. Thank you.
Thank you, capital letter J. Because even the discussion that we are having today, it is so much anchored on that point number 9. Are we approaching this topic from the responsibility side or from nihilism? Because most of the people that are anti-natalists and who are pro-extinction, I feel they are strongly nihilists when it comes to such topics. They don't look at the effect of the systems. They don't look at whether behavior can change. They would say we have been around enough. We could have changed if we want to. But on the issue of change, I've got a question. Do we change because we want to change? Or do we change because the system around us, it has been designed in a way that encourages a certain behavior? We can incorporate that as we talk further. Capital J, you can release that. Yes, thank you. Dorcas?
Okay. Hey, once again, you require us to condense all these questions into one contribution. Well, I will do my best.
Yeah, let me ask, because The one that we have left out is the reflection one. And the reflection one, we did start a little bit late, waiting for the quorum. And I don't think it's a problem if we had about 15 minutes or so
Yes,
to
there's
wrap
no
it up.
problem.
Or are there any
Right.
people who are in a hurry?
Yeah, because we started around, I think, 17 minutes late.
Yes,
So we can add an extra 17 minutes to the hour.
yes,
Just
lovely,
to, okay.
good.
Now, before I respond to some of the things between 7 to 9, question 7 to 9, and I'll mention that somebody was not following the subtopics that were shared on groups. Subtopic 7 is, can humans change? Subtopic 8 is, if humans disappeared tomorrow, if humans disappear tomorrow, what would happen? And then subtopic 9 is responsibility versus nihilism. So before I even touch on those, I wanted to comment on something Mogaka said, the resident Christian in our group. We are glad you come to the meetings, Mogaka, because we like having divergent views. So you were saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe this, that it is okay to have a child as long as you love each other, even if they might have some genetic disorders. Goodness gracious me,
I didn't
no.
say that. I didn't say that.
But you are against the expert in your church who said that you should do genetic testing first.
No, I said if it's a choice of becoming married to someone, it should not prevent you if you not, for example, have that potentiality of having no kids, for example, or having albino kids. If you decide you love this person, you don't love them because of kids. So my opinion was the bond of love should not be predicated on what.
You are saying, so
Yeah.
in other words, you are saying you are okay with them marrying, but would you be okay with them having kids?
If there was a way for them to do it, because I know science has progressed in such a way that it can be done. For example, it's possible for you to give birth to HIV negative kids as much
I'm
as
not
you.
talking about HIV. I'm talking about genetic disorders.
Yes, even genetic disorders. For example, you have that. I mean, science has developed to such a point where you can be able to successfully get children who are not able to carry bad destructive genes. But that said, who's to say that I and you don't have destructive genes? We are, first of all, we are degrading. I know we are saying we are evolving, improving, but the science shows that human beings are getting worse.
Mogaka, I don't want you to make an entire contribution. I get I cut it.
Sorry. Okay.
So maybe this is where we as atheists differ from believers, because some of them, okay, maybe it was not what Mogaka said, but I know some believers assume that life is valuable regardless, human life that is valuable regardless of the quality of life. Whether or not this person will have a dilapidating illness that will condemn them to a life of misery, pain, and suffering is consequential. No, Mogaka, I've understood your position, and you said.
No, I'm supporting you. I'm saying that I also support that position.
I get it. Mogaka, I don't have a lot of time. Allow me to continue. Yeah, so I'm not talking about you, but there are other Christians who are like, all human life is sacred and you should not discriminate regardless
I
of.
support that. I also support that. Sorry, I'm just.
Mogaka, allow me to continue to make my contribution. Sawa. I'm talking about other Christians, not you. So, such people, I have a problem.
I also support them. That's what I'm trying just to correct you. I also support that position. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Then now I disagree with you. Okay. If you support them, I disagree with you comfortably. Because in my view, we should strive to avoid unnecessary suffering. If you know that there is a chance you will pass on problematic genes, if I can put it that way. I know there's a better word to describe it. It's just not coming to my head right now. But let me say, is it not deficient, but what is it?
Defective.
Effective, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. So if you have the likelihood of passing on defective genes because you have the condition yourself and your family members also have that condition, I think it is ethical for you to abstain from having children. I personally, if I knew I had a genetic condition that is really significant, something like albinism, to me, it's livable. You can just get, is it the sunscreen, and you can deal with your eyesight if you have eyesight problems. Albinism is something you can handle. It's not that dilapidating, but there are other conditions, something like Down syndrome, something other conditions where somebody's quality of life is significantly impaired and you knew it. You had the condition, your family had the condition, or you've gone genetic testing and you realized you have that gene in you, and then you continue and have a child who will just be suffering throughout their life. I think that's highly unethical and we shouldn't do it. I also think even after people exist, now this is where we'll have that discussion, Bolelang, on eugenics. But even after people exist, if somebody's life is so full of suffering, mm, it's really like there's nothing that technology, medical technology, can do to alleviate your suffering. Like it's really unbearable. I think it is okay for that person to commit suicide. Imagine, I know it's controversial, but that's my position on it. Let's avoid that suffering. At just maintaining, preserving life for its own sake, when the quality of life is so diminished, I don't support it, and I'm also pro euthanasia. So that's my position on that aspect. Um, I now go to number 7. Can humans change? Absolutely, yes, we can. Statistics show that our earlier human species were significantly more violent than we are now. The Neanderthals, the Homo erectus, those ones, they used to be more violent than we are currently. Uh, and this is ironic given the fact that our capacity to be violent, to cause mass extinction, is high. We have nuclear weapons, but we've not used them, imagine. So we've not used them as much as we would expect. You know, if the Irans of this world and the Donald Trumps of this world decided to go at each other, then where our species would be on the brink of extinction. But people are withholding because of that awareness. So that shows me that there is hope for humanity. We can be more ecologically aware. We can exercise greater custody of our ecosystems. We can renew. We can use renewable energy. We can reuse. We can recycle resources so that we can avoid depleting them, and we can improve water or air quality. And even this one, we can do it for our own sake. I think we have a higher chance of increasing the number of environmental activity or advocates when we appeal to our innate selfish interest. We cannot ignore that aspect. When we just want to leave the earth, the planet, in a good condition for its own sake, that we just want to see some greenery here and some forests running just for its own sake. No. Me personally, I would want us to have a green or a sustainable environment because it is beneficial to me as a species, as a human species, but also it's beneficial to other sentient beings. So, yes, advocacy, advocacy, advocacy. climate sustainability, I think having conversations like the ones we're having would be really helpful. If humans disappeared tomorrow, I think it would be so sad, because that means I would also disappear. Yeah, I'm a selfish creature. I'm an animal at the end of the day. That I would disappear, that my future generations, I might not give birth personally, but speaking as humanity, using that as a metaphor for humanity, that our future generations would not exist, I think it would be so sad. The fact that our mathematics will disappear, our spacecrafts will disappear, our internet, our books, our philosophy, our quantum physics, our chemistry, all of that information would just up and blow up in smoke. I think it would be a tragedy, and I wouldn't want it to be so. Yeah, so I guess I'm human centric in this regard. I've revealed my bias. Responsibility versus nihilism. I am definitely for responsibility. As I said before, I have faith in humanity, and I think we can improve if we have become less violent than earlier human species. Then we can be more custodial in terms of other species that are sentient. Let me leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorcas. And as you speak, I can pick up even the reflection part, the point at number 10, where we look at everything that you have spoken and we look, what do we decide? We saw that we can be destructive, we saw that we can be creative, and also that we can fix what has been damaged. So what do we think about the whole thing as we go towards the closing of the discussion? Mureki?
Thanks, Bulalang. Just Tommy, just Tommy, as a Christian, do you believe deafness and being blind are mistakes which we are correcting? If you're deaf and blind, it's a mistake which human beings are correcting. What do you think? Then also, in terms of pets, a cat can turn against you. Even a dog, it can be your pet, but it can still turn against you, meaning they are still wild. They'll turn against you by misfortune. Then also, dockers, human beings are less violent. Okay, I'm surprised because of 9/11, the attack in America, the Twin Towers. That's extreme violence. You want an aeroplane, then you crash into a building. That's extreme. So I don't know how we are less violent. That's violence at its pinnacle. You want an aeroplane, you go in, crash into two buildings. That's extreme violence. So if you're less violent, I'm surprised. Then also, Tommy, there's no love. Genes are real. Love is not real. Love comes and goes, but genes remain real. Like I agree with Rachel in the chats. I'm with Rachel. Love is not real, but genes are real. Thanks.
Thank you, Mureki. Tommy? Are you still with us, Tommy?
Yes, I am. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, sorry, it's raining here, so I think network might bring a problem. But let me just comment quickly to correct what Sister Dorcas commented. I was not saying that we should go foolhardy, knowing that you have capability or ability of producing children who will suffer. That was not my position. My position was, in the event that you do produce kids who have that situation, they have every right to exist as you and I. And for that reason, their value or my value or your value is not based on your flesh and blood or what you can contribute in terms of to society and things like that. Your value is beyond that aspect of what you can contribute. For example, if that was the case, then the rich people in Kenya have more value than the people who live in slums, because they have technically a greater contribution. The lower value, the people who are in the lower slum and in the lower cadres of society can easily be indispensable. But the fact is, even our own socialization does not agree with that kind of logic, because you have equal value. There's human rights and things like that. Let me not belabor the point. I'll want to quickly pick up a question or respond to a question. If you are born with Down syndrome, should be then exterminated because you have a life of suffering? On this one, I agree with my sister Ndeve. There's a difference between pain and suffering. When it comes to pain, I might not have a choice. I have to feel it. I experience it. But suffering is a mental choice. You see, I can be living in a palace, but I'm suffering. Suffering does not necessarily mean physical or feeling something which touches me. I can be living in a palace, but I open my window, I look across the window, and I see people in slums. That causes me suffering already. You see, I may be amputated, for example, and I feel the pain, but because I know I'm going home after war to see my kids, the pain will subside, or the pain will be superseded by the joy of seeing my family. So I have conditioned myself, because of hope, to not feel the suffering. For those who are mothers, giving birth or giving a childbirth is painful. And it could also be a cause of suffering. But because you could condition yourself that you are going to experience joy, you might feel the pain, but you might not suffer. You might just labor through it. Now, there's these statistics which I wanted to share from the American Journal of Medical Genetics, and I'll probably try and show them on the wall. They did a research to find out what people with Down syndrome felt about their life. It's a 2011 study by Levin and Goldstein and Stockco. They did the test with 285 individuals with Down syndrome, and this is what the turnout of the results came. 99% said they were happy with their lives. 97% liked who they were. 96% liked how they look. 99% expressed love for their families. So now let me ask you a question. Should how people have been exterminated, yet they themselves don't see? Someone said, yeah, we are arguing from the lens of animals, deciding for the animals what's good for them or what's not for them. We are in danger of doing the same things to other fellow human beings. We are looking from our lens. We have not lived their lives, but we are trying to decide for them. Yet they themselves don't see that they are any less human than you or any worse off than you. In fact, they look at you, you're the ones who have Down syndrome, because you have everything, yet you cannot work. I'll give you an example of this guy called Nick Vujicic. I've forgotten his pronouncement of his name, but I think he's Australian. His motto is no limps, no worries. Why? He's born with a genetic condition where he has no arms and no legs. So his motto was no legs, no arms, no worries. When he was a baby, he tried to kill himself in the bathtub by just not paddling or not just allowing himself to sink. But today that guy has, I think, I don't know, four master's degrees. He's got a company running stocks, and he's got the most beautiful bride you've ever seen. Me here with my full brain, functioning legs and everything, I don't even have a wife. So let me ask you a question again. This guy, he can travel, he can even go, he's a Christian. He can go even travel and preach in the middle of Saudi Arabia, where it's a hostile environment for Christians. No Muslim will touch him. So his handicap has turned out to be his greatest asset. You see, I think recently he has kids and he has got babies. So in my view, it is our value as human beings is far much beyond that capacity of what we call in quotes good life, or what we call in quotes a meaningful life. suffering, like us Africans. Let me give another final example. I normally,
Yeah,
for example, when
because we have
okay.
just crossed the line. Wrap it up.
Okay. I don't know at what point I'll be able to touch on the Christian perspective on this, but if I get opportunity, I'll be able to touch it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for all your perspectives. It was a very interesting topic. I never knew that it's so exciting. It was by mistake that I bumped into it. I only knew about anti-natalists. I never knew that it goes this broad. But we reach the end of our discussion, and I'm handing over back to our chairman. No, chairperson.
Okay, thank you so much for Lelang for accepting the moderation. You did it exceptionally well. I loved how you strove to be neutral, even though I know you had opinions. You had opinions about the topic, but you're very neutral and you tried to incorporate divergent opinions while asking us some thought-provoking questions. I was thinking there's no way we can do 10 questions, 10 subtopics, justice, but hey, look at us. We are capable of so much. So thank you, Bolelang, for stepping up. And it's such a coincidence that you are discussing this on your socials while we also thought about it in our group. Great job. To all the people who participated, I would like to thank Ndeve. She was one of the people who joined the meeting at the very beginning. Thank you, Morioki. Thank you, capital letter J. Sorry, you're saying something? Okay. I think somebody just unmuted randomly. Thank you, capital letter J, for your contribution. I think I had El Maestro a bit, and even Rachel got a chance to cough to show people that she's not a bot, she's a real person. And Tommy, also, you brought in that much needed different voice. By the way, Tommy, just to add something small, no one is saying we should kill people who are suffering. No one. That is so unethical. That is murder. The question was on giving birth to them, bringing life into this world to suffer. That was the issue. But let's not get into that at this moment. I'd just like to thank you for bringing in a different viewpoint, and we hope to keep having you in our meetings. And anybody else, I think we had a few people on the chat commenting, maybe they were not able to speak. And then I also see a number of you have joined us. We have Cookie, we have Jim, we have KG, Lesso, JW, and Caleb, who took time out of their probably busy nights. You could be out partying, you could be watching a movie, but you're here with us and we appreciate you. So we will meet next Saturday. By the way, we already have a topic and a moderator. We are going to discuss the problem of consciousness. Again, we'll be philosophical. Will be a bit philosophical. So please do your research on that issue of consciousness. We mentioned it a bit here, so we will continue with it next week. And then the other week, we are going to discuss the necessity of war, especially in light of the Iran-Israel-US conflict. So guys, I wish you a lovely night, morning, afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Let's meet in the next one. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon.
Good morning.